Hello, class. Hopefully, you had a safe and fun Halloween and ready to start working again. I had fun. I dressed up like a kitty cat and walked around Waikiki a little bit. But, anyways, here, bright eyed and bushy tailed. Today's article I want to talk about is about agriculture, specifically uh, sensors, adding sensors to crops. And when I first read this article, I thought it was going to be about artificial intelligence, and because that's a very hot topic. Lots of people talk about AI right now. What AI is really good for is predicting things. So it's not like the computer itself is intelligent, or cognizant or self-aware. It just means that it's really good at predicting things, and predicting like Chat GPT or the precursor GPT-3. It's just really good at predicting what humans should like to hear. And But here, this article is not about artificial intelligence. It's about actually directly sensing what's going on in crops. And why is this important? It's important because we need to eat. So if you look at human history, uh, we were barely making it. I mean, well, it wasn't until around 5,000 ish years ago that we actually started doing whole scale agriculture. Before that, humans were just hunter gatherers, and that's referred to as prehistoric times. And then with the advent of agriculture, we've started hanging around in cities rather than tribes, and still we were barely making it. And then something happens around the year 1900. And ever since 1900, we've just had a population explosion. Just an amazing population explosion. And there's a couple of reasons why we've had such a huge population explosion. Uh, for medical science, widespread use of antibiotics and vaccines. I think antibiotics is the more important technology there because that was the major killers. Vaccines, to a lesser extent, but still very important. Uh, also, but the majority, in my opinion, and many others, is the industrialization of our agriculture. If you look before the industrialization of our agriculture, a large part of the human population was geared toward directly getting food. So, on the order of one third to one half of the population was geared towards gathering and preparing food for the other parts. Nowadays, it's on the order of 5%. So there's been a big shift. And now we're getting to the point also, and these points are called Malthusian catastrophes. It's where a population outgrows its ability to feed itself. So we're looking towards more Malthusian catastrophes, and we're using our scientific knowledge to better our crop outputs. And one of the major issues that can affect crops are disease. So this article goes over how sensors can be used to spot diseases. One is fungus in grapevines for winemaking. I don't know if they exactly say winemaking, but I'm assuming the vineyard is going to be making wine. Also, olive trees. So I mentioned this in olive trees. So here is they're looking for sensing for different colors and pigmentation changes in and over olive groves in Europe. So specifically Spain and Italy. And the problem with this is that these diseases can wipe out entire regions of trees, and having a lower supply of olive oil or olives in general is it's going to be a rough thing. I like olive oil personally. I like olives too, so I'm all for this. And also there's a startup company in San Diego that goes a little further. Or sorry, it's Davis, California. Sorry, Davis, California. That's looking at inserting certain genes into plants such that when certain genes are activated, they'll fluoresce. So they'll find things like drought. So tomato plants that if they need more water, then they'll fluoresce a certain way. So a sensor can pick this up, and this is just a way to protect the field. So in the mentioning of the bacteria in the olives and the fungi and the grapevines. So we can look at this protection. We can also look at it in terms of losing nutrients. So now a plant that's in distress, a tomato plant, will start to fluoresce when it needs to be watered. So this is a way that we can stretch out our limited resources. Water is becoming a huge issue, especially in an area like California. So in that area, water is becoming increasingly scarce. So we have to be more intelligent in how we use our water, and here is one way we could do it. So this is anticipating, it's dealing with problems and also current problems and anticipating future problems. So this is interesting and this is fascinating, right? So that we're using our scientific know-how to help our crop output, specifically dealing with lingering resources like water and also protection against massive failures from disease. So I think this is fascinating, the fact, and that we're pushing forward with this, and that and how science and how this connects to society. So hopefully you see this big picture. And in a little bit of an amusing way too, as I'm reading this article, there have been a lot of these technologies also developed for military uses. I mean, this is obviously a civilian use, so certain companies like BAE and Lockheed Martin, they look into ways of sensing, and they look for ways to find things like submarines, or you can do interesting things like you can fly drones, and then you can background subtract things like through houses and tree canopies to find things like weapon stashes, or like marijuana crops. So you can find marijuana crops growing in wooded areas, or cocoa crops or something like that. So this other ways that we've done this technology. I'm happy, of course, to see civilian uses of this, and not only civilian but also increasing our food output. So it's wonderful. This is great. This is amazing, right? This is amazing technology, and it's amazing how it comes back, and it comes back to us being human, right? So part of being human is the fact that we like to eat. So I personally enjoy eating, of course, and that's what keeps me alive. So speaking of eating, if you find yourself that you are not getting enough food, please let me know, or other basic needs, or if your mental health is spiraling out of control. So please let me know. I always do what I can do to help. So I hope you have the nice rest of your weekend and rest of your week, and I will talk to you next week. Aloha.